Hey everybody, Texas Trucker here, Lance's Performance Shop below on the star of Mopars.com. Just took a look at the Icon 3/8 swivel drive impact sockets. There's a lot to like. Price point, particularly with a 25% off coupon. Tray, the plastic over case is super OP and you can do all kinds of extra bonus things with it. You do have a lid for this if you work in a dusty environment type of a thing. The plastic storage tray, can't really complain, even though it's in the orientation opposite that I would personally prefer. What we can cite, since Icon is a brand that has their top of the line at Harbor Freight and dubbed by themselves to compete against tool trucks, we've got a couple of things to gripe about. Most notably, these have zero laser etching. And you're like, well, hey, I've got a set from blah blah, doesn't have laser etching. Here's the problem with that. Okay, this comes from Harbor Freight. Pittsburgh Pro, Quinn. The Quinn sockets, which look eerily similar to Capri if you haven't seen them. What do they have? They have laser etching. Also, what have they done there? If this was a set of Quinn or Pittsburgh Pro swivels, you would have roll stamping and laser etching that would be, you know, readable in this orientation like Icon, right? The way they have branded these and roll stamped them is, in my opinion, upside down. Why do I say that? Well, if you come in with these swivels, this is the 3/8 by 1. You got a chamfered opening, awesome, curl molly, great, zero complaints there. You're not going to be able to slide this over a peg holder. Why? Well, it's a swivel socket, so where your peg would come in and want to go, it's just going to hang out and create clearance issues with your drawer, break the peg, hang up, do something bad, right? So they're going to need to go on a more traditional spring-style socket rail, a friction peg from MTS, twist lock from MTS, twist lock from Ernst, little cheap aluminum one, something along those lines. It just has the square peg, right? So when you do that and you've taken it out of this case, you can see right there, if that looks like it says ICON 1, that's because it does. And when I flip it over, you're going to see that this says Icon and it has 1, then a part number, and then right here it's your safety stuff, wear safety glasses, don't touch the socket when it's running, dummy. You physically cannot store these in a manner where this would be legible on a rail. And yes, I know, like, well, hey, they come in a case, moron, stop critiquing them. It's just a situation where when it's the cream of the crop, the top of the line, you have to take all this into consideration. You have to hold it against the company, whether it's Snap-on, Mac, Harbor Freight, Wright, whoever. And is personal preference for 5/16 to be here and 1 inch to be here? Yes. I'll let it pass. Some people like this better. Sometimes they're going to wind up sideways anyway, you know, but it is what it is, okay? This is not very visible in the case. It doesn't have like an offsetting font, so that's a little cumbersome. But the fact that we have this billed as the tool truck competitor and it lacks the laser etching that your lowest tier and your mid-tier tools have doesn't set well with me. And then the fact that we missed an opportunity, just if you want to, you know, do what Snap-on does and have this inverted, you know, and all the information up here, one up them. For frick's sake, do better. You know, take and do what they did and then do what you usually do, which you would have Icon and you would have 1 inch here facing us just like that. Personal opinions on all of that. But for the price point where it's at in the hierarchy, which is the cream of the crop, there is none better at Harbor Freight than Icon. At least that's what they tell you and what they price them as. You gotta go to the extremes. You've got to option them out. The Capri Impact sockets, which we brought in to use at work, super similar to these, but they're a little tricked out better, coating slightly different, and they have laser etching and the text and size markings oriented in line with the Icon and Mopar font here, not flipped and inverted. So I'm not going to knock them for the plastic case. As I've said, I was against these at the start. I still am. They take up a lot of space, you know, but with the wrenches, I've had to backtrack. I can't find any better way to store them. Also, these are stackable, and in the event, like let's say you're in an agricultural setting and it's a hay cutting operation, right? And you've got your stuff out there, it gets filthy. If you're in a body shop, probably more relatable to more of you, they get filthy. These stupid little plastic trays that most of you probably just junk as soon as you open them, they do wonders. They will get filthy, but when you lift it off, if you don't shake it or tip it inadvertently and set it down, your sockets are still clean, right? So, lots to like, but minor things that need to be tweaked that, in my opinion, can make this a way better product for people. So, I'm going to set these off to the side, and I've got another little item for us to take a look at. And my hope is that we don't have to spend as much time because I've kind of covered the knocks already. So, this again, especially what you're about to see. I had zero intentions of buying Icon half-inch drive SAE swivels. This would probably, honestly, the 3/8 swivels might be used more, but this is going to cover bigger sizes. It'll work better with my pneumatic stuff. It's half-inch drive. I had no intentions of going Icon. Like, I would do it with metric. That's kind of what we did with 3/8. That was kind of going to be my gateway to feel it out, see what we thought of it, how it compared. This is just a deal. As I stated in multiple previous videos, 25% coupons come. I don't know why. I kind of have a hunch why, but I can't prove it. And they're just very rare. Okay, 20% off, you're usually like, oh, you know, this is time to buy. 25, it's like 5% bonus on top of that. So where you stand with these things is you've got a really competitive price to begin with. Personally, for me, at least 2 area stores, I can probably go in any time and there's somebody that remembers me. So I'm not going to have issues warranting anything if we need to. Granted, you know, like if it gets to a point where these are just junk and I'm having to replace my frequently used sizes all the time, they're going to go, right? I'm not going to keep them. I'm going to go try to buy something better. But until we get to that point, if that even becomes a reality for us, 25% off on this prize, it's just, I couldn't say no. Do you let the coupon expire and buy nothing, or do you cash in? Now, there were items that I really wanted to use that on, but they were not available. These happen to be there. I've seen, particularly at the store closest to me, like, their stock sucks. Okay, like, I can go to other stores in the area, and it's amazing what they have on the shelf that my closest store, like, hasn't had in months. It's weird. I don't understand it. I don't know if they have like a mecha system for regional areas or something. But if you frequently look for one thing and you check online especially, you'll see like, oh, it's back in stock there. And then it's like it's never in stock at the store closest to you or the one that you like better type of a thing. I can't explain it. It's like some internal corporate deal. Maybe it's just mismanagement on that store's behalf. Maybe they don't like... But I mean, since it's in the system, I don't know. I'm not going to get into it. I'm going to try to make this quick. But basically, this is around $150. I want to say when I bought these, I know I'm filming these back to back, but like these have been here for quite some time now, you know, sitting idle. So they do a deal. It's relatively new on the website. If you come down on the homepage, you'll see price reduction. And if you click it, there'll be a whole bunch of things. Sometimes it's like 99 cents or $2. Like pliers might go from 19 to 17 or 17 to 15 type of a thing. Sometimes on stuff like this, your price goes from like $149.99 to $139.99. They do that with the wrenches that we bought as well. When you see that, that's a good time to buy if you're like thinking, man, they're never going to do the 20% off coupons, or I just really need these now. That's a good reason to move. You're saving yourself a little bit of money, but you can stack the coupons on top of that. Like, even if a 20% came off run-of-the-mill or 10% off Icon, if they just drop the price on a wrench set from $139 to $129 and you've got that 10%, you get to take 10% off of the $129. So it's kind of a win. And it all lined up, and it's like, man, you know, even if these aren't that great, it's kind of like, I think we need to pull the trigger. And that's what we did. So I think these are $149 MSRP. I think they were $139 with a $10, you know, like and it is temporary. Like I think they tend to cycle that maybe like every 2 weeks or so from what I've seen. So always pay attention to that. And again, it might just be like Icon pliers, like, oh man, I really want to try those slip joint things, but I'm not paying $20. Well, you know, like watch it, it'll drop down. which since those were new, they've already dropped down, but now you might be able to get them instead of $17.99, $15.99 on the temporary price reduction, right? So it's basically a sale under a different name the way I see it. But stacking coupons on discounted prices can't go wrong. So $140, I think, is what these would have been, and then 25% off. That's kind of half of 140 is 70, so 25% of that would be 35. So basically $105, and you're thinking like, that's still a lot of money. These are impact swivels, which you know that's going to be a pricier socket, and then 14 into 105. That's incredible value right there. So 14 times 7 is 98, right? So 14 times 8 would be 112. So roughly 98.50 cents, somewhere in that range, you know, or $7.50 a socket for half-inch drive swivels. That's kind of like, well, I'm gonna give it a go, and that's why they're here, legitimately why they are here. In the case of this one, again, I know we've kind of covered this ad nauseum, that's why I'm trying to get through it a little quicker. Main highlights: high visibility stamp size markings. I've covered that. I disagree with it. Chamfered socket opening, love it, that's a win. Precision forge for maximum grip and torque, remains to be seen. Premium storage tray, I would orient it differently, I would do different colors, I might add like an offset for the label, but it really is a decent storage tray. Add in this excessive overmold, which I believe is twofold: one, to display the product, kind of give a premium appearance, and two, to prevent theft. That's not on Harbor Freight, that's on us. You know, it's just a situation where if you could put these in a box, like keep the tray, keep the lid, but take this thick lid with the screws and the black case, that's gotta be a significant cost addition, right? So knock the price down 10 bucks, have them in an unassuming cardboard box, you know, even if you have to lock it up in the back or something. I think more people, like if you can knock 10 or 15 bucks off of these, you're going to sell more of them. And let's face it, most people like this big overmolded case, it's gone, right? I will admit, especially like with this half-inch one and it being a wider profile, might not be a bad idea to keep at least the black portion if you're going to keep it in the tray to move it around, like take it out of the box and put it on a table where you're working type of a deal. But it's nice, but it's kind of excessive, right? So that's that. Chrome moly construction, that's what I want in an Impact. I don't care what some team of engineers says about chrome vanadium that they use. No. And the funny thing is, most of those engineers that tout that are nowhere near the manufacturing process that's done in a different country overseas. Just throwing it out there. Okay. So there's a lot to like, and there's a couple of minor complaints. Even at the price point with a coupon, you've got to be legit and fair, right? So the big thing here to like about this is it's a 14-piece set, and you're going 7/16 all the way to 1 1/4 inch. So your big sizes you might be concerned with, 1 1/4 inch, that's going to cover your 3/4 hardware, heavy hex type of stuff. 1 3/16, 1 1/8, that's a big one. That's like standard and run-of-the-mill 3/4 stuff. 1 1/16, 1 inch. My beloved 15/16 made an appearance, so we've got 5/8 hardware covered. 7/8 is here, 13/16, 3/4, 11/16, 5/8. 9/16, half, and 7/16. It's funny to me that you would write out the included sizes here, you know, small to large, when you do the tray opposite of that. Just throwing that out there. But, I mean, for the price and considering these are swivels, like that's just, it's hard to say no to. It's hard to really go wrong with. Now, to kind of make this interesting for veteran viewers of the channel, we had the little pocket Cyclops here from Vera, and we totally used it to take out 2 screws last time. But you know what? We're up in the ante this time. I'll just use the same bit for clearance sake. I'm not sure that a standard bit would sink down in there. Remember this from the Hazet Advent calendar? She's charged up and she's raring to go. Got her first big limelight job here, and we're going to run this continually because these screws are deceptively long. Is it faster than I am? Sadly, it might be. Give me a good T-handle and I will attempt it there. And the thing is, this, how many screws can we do like this? I don't know, but my batteries don't die. Might slow down, but I can keep going. And if you think like, dude, you gotta stop turning these. No, every time I stop and I think those are free, they never run. Never. Oh, did we screw up the first one? Seriously? You've got to be kidding me. I'm telling you, it's just... We got one of them? We got two. Okay, that's better. But I mean, even with this, when I thought like, yep, she's wobbling out of there. That's gotta be free, right? There we go. And then this guy, that's popped. So, might have saved us a little bit of time here. But yes, for it, I try. I think of you. I really do. It's like, man, these poor people having to watch these same complaints on the same sockets, just in different drive sizes. How can I make this entertaining? How can we add something unexpected? And that's the answer right there. So this right here is over the top. Like, it's impressive. It's nice. It's not really necessary. But at the same time, like, I can't throw it away. Like, it's too potentially useful, you know. Now this is tricky. We screwed this up on the 3/8. Oh no, we screwed this one up really bad because that didn't come out at all. Oh, now she comes out. So you can see this was oiled, and there's the cardboard. You know what? To do you a further favor, looking out for you, the viewer, I'm going to take this mess, I'm going to take that mess, and I'm going to put it all back together off camera. Alright, as promised, mess is sort of cleaned up. It actually went very smooth. Not just saying that because it was off camera. We can conceal things. Truly did. But this right here, it's not a bad idea to hold that because of the weight, right? It would do a good job. This will slide off. It's kind of on a rail system, so you can take the icon peg off of it. You can't really justify throwing this away because you can do so much with it. I mean, you could come in and you could cut steel out, just, you know, like sheet metal, glue it, and you could make stuff that magnetizes, just sit in there. And then these are stackable, and like your deep drawers, you could also stand them sideways if you want to. Random crud like this, just throw it in. You can put toolkits in here. I don't know that you would ever want to like shoot the screws back through it unless you're like transporting something long term or shipping something in it. But I mean, like all these little hardware boxes that would just stand up somewhere, you could use this as a hardware tray. You can lay them flat and write what they are on them. You could plastic weld dividers in it. Like, I can't complain about this, but I will say that I think a lot of people would say, hey, you know, if you can just sell that to me in a cardboard box for 10, 15 bucks less, I'll be happy. And maybe they'd save some money too. But highlights right here that we do want to cover on the back. You can see it's their Professional Impact Swivel Socket. High visibility, I've got to say no. Even if we were to like fill that with paint or etch it with a marker, it just... Even considering it's inverted, it's not high visibility. I'll just have to call that out. Swivel joint rotates easily for hard to reach fasteners. My advice, again, go technical on this, kind of like you did on the wrenches. Tell people the degree of angle that you can achieve with it. Heat treated to provide superior strength and resistance from repeated cycle, and a durable black phosphate finish, which will help it to resist corrosion. And it was oiled, as you should have seen in that tray, quite nicely. Nothing excessive. It's not like they're swimming in oil. But they were oiled, and they arrived in good shape, because again, we've seen these in the lid. Now, the lid right here, this is where some people are going to stop. You use this tray, you put this lid on it for the aforementioned reasons. Keeps the dust down, keeps crud off of your sockets. It's a win, right? And you can totally package this and that tray in a cardboard box. But right here, what are we doing? We're all over the place, okay? So you start over here. You know, this is 7/16 all the way to 7/8, and then you come back over here to this corner, and you go 15/16 to 1 1/4 inches. I'll give it a pass. I do have to point out my personal preference would be you've got the small sizes here and you snake opposite. Everything's like flipped and inverted from what I personally prefer. Minor stuff, yes, but on these suckers, compared to the 3/8 drive, you do have better visibility. That's a bad example because she's oiled the heckin' back. Where's a size label that is not face down in oil? Looks like this one's kind of up. So this is our 5/8, and that's very, you can see it there, but again, you're gonna have it like this, and you can't store these sockets unless you come in and you throw bolts down through like a piece of wood or a piece of metal or angle iron or something, and then you magnetize the whole thing. That's the only way that would be visible, and then you're not going to be able to see half the sizes because they're smaller than the body of the socket. This is a way better font size than the 3/8, I will give it that, but it's just, I can't, like, it needs to have laser etching. It really truly does. You could invert that, you could do it the same way even. I've covered it again every single video. I'll stop there. Let's just get it right down to it. We're gonna grab 1 1/8, and I have to say it's kind of disappointing looking at the size marking. It would be nice, like the icon's fairly visible, and then that just seems like it needs to be slightly larger, right? Again, laser stamping down here, laser etching would be nice. We're gonna come in, we don't have a 1/2" drive Hercules ratchet. Why? Why, you ask? As of filming this, they don't make one. I keep waiting for it. That would be something I'd love to have. This went on way easier compared to the 3/8. There's your articulation. We're gonna start out here. We're gonna come into mode 1. I'm trying to keep the oil off of the tool. All right, it's gonna have to refresh it. Right here, we're just gonna go progressive trigger. So it's kind of to be expected with that size of a swivel. I mean, you gotta realize this would be 3/4 fasteners, you know. But that was mode 1. I am afraid mode 3, if we're gonna skip 2, I don't want to break the camera lens. It does retain way better than that one that we threw on our 3/8 Impact. Like, this is pretty solid. There's not much play. That other one was like about to slide off. It was very hard to pull off of the friction ring, but like the majority of the anvil, like 85% of it, is just woo back and forth. So, and this has been used way more. This is used a lot. The 3/8 is brand new basically. So anyway, I'm kind of going to have a hand here so I can hopefully shield the camera, but we'll go progressive. And I'll speed it up. Yeah, you get the idea. That's quite the load in your hands. But again, these do put out decent torque for brushless stuff. But I would recommend, if you're going to be running that thing with these on the daily, get yourself some good impact rated gloves like these Alphas. Discount code Lone Star saves you 20%. Do I make anything off that? Absolutely not, but you get good gloves. So I can't really, despite the shortcomings and the personal preference though, which personal preference I'll never hold against a company or a product. It's just like, yeah, well, I wish it was like this. If this was Stavilla with this exact same tray, I would say the exact same thing about the layout. It's just who I am and what I prefer. Like I said though, some of you won't care and some of you will actually possibly prefer a layout like this. So it could go either way. Of course, some of you will agree with me and be like, yeah, it's backwards. But same thing on the stamping. That's personal preference. I do think laser etching is inexcusable to leave off of your top tier product when your own mid tier and low tier have it. That I'm not giving you a pass on. Now, if it's Stavilla and they had 3 tiers of sockets or something, and the low tier and the mid tier didn't have it and the top tier didn't, I'd say, being top tier, they should really add that, but their low tier and mid tier don't, so they just must not value it. It all got to be subjective, whether it's something that you like, something you want to like, something that you love, or something that you want to hate. You have to be consistent, otherwise it's hypocrisy, and that drives me nuts. So throw anything down in front of me, Mac, Wright, Proto, whatever. I think, man, with Wright, I've never seen Wright impacts with laser etching. Granted, they do really big size markings. But would I love to see them at it? You betcha. That's definitely something that I think would be nice on any impact socket. So, especially your top of the line, cream of the crop one. So, with that said, I mean, there's not much more we can say. This ultimately, same with our 3/8 drive. I need seat time with these. I need projects. I need real world use. I need these on the pneumatic impacts. I need them on ratchets. I need them on the battery powered. I need them outside. I need them under a car, in an engine bay. We just need time to realize, like, hey, you know, we got these for a steal. They've held up amazing. Or I've only really used these, you know, for like 6 months, and they're looking a little long in the tooth, you know. I'm not sure how much longer they're going to be around. And of course, that only comes with time. And I promise you, I will keep you updated. If these are great, I'll let you know. If they suck, I'll definitely let you know. Just like Taco Bell. How many people had Taco Bell yesterday and it was okay, or they liked it even? You don't know. How many people had Taco Bell and there was a rat tail in the taco? You know about that. The whole world knows about that. So sometimes no news is good news, right? So in my opinion, though, these check off a lot of my boxes. They're chamfered. They're chrome moly. They seem to be decent quality here initially. And the price is right. I mean, 25% off of a $10 sale, if you will. Half-inch drive in these size ranges, like, that's a good buy. So even some of you, you know, like, you might just chagrin at this. I have to have snap-on, especially in half-inch drive. I hear you, but, you know, putting a road box together or something in your truck, you know, do you want to risk losing your 15/16 an inch and an eighth? You know, they're going to put you out, you know, $220 or so to buy them back. I don't know. Would this suffice for you? It probably would. And like I said, it is a lifetime warranty, so there is that. But main thing I want from you, first-hand feedback. If you have these, whether they're SAE or metric or 3/8 even, how long have you had them? What are you running them on? Are you running them on pneumatic only? Are you only using your Ryobi? Do you have like the Torque Test Channel's #1 grunt work, and you just constantly, every time there's a new #1, you buy it, and that's what's powering these things? How are they holding up, and what's the duration on them? If these are holding up, great, but you've only had them 2 weeks, that's cool. It's a good indicator. But I'm more interested in the guy that's used these daily or every weekend type of a deal for a year and a half or 2 years. What's your story? Are they good? Are they bad? Are they just about the same as everything else? Or is it a situation where you're like, I can't believe that these have held up this good and I got them that cheap? Whatever your story is, feel free to leave it down below. That will help people that are watching this are either A, bored, or B, considering purchasing this or something in similar line, right? So if you've got first-hand feedback, good, bad, or just indifferent, leave it, and it'll help that guy save some money, make the best purchase decision that he can make. Also, I want to know, what do you do with those big black trays with the thick lids? Do you keep them? Do you trash them? Have you rigged up really cool storage systems in them? Some of you probably found like little grates and crud that fit in them. You know, plier racks even in some of these deep ones, who knows? But let me know on that as well. And on that front, for some of you, this guy was probably the highlight of the show. But little Hazet's advent calendar guy getting some limelight here. So, like I said, I try to keep you entertained. I try to come up with stuff from time to time. But LoneStarMopars.com is the website. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, all three at Lone Star Mopars. Similarly, if you have not subscribed, I encourage you to do so. If you're unaware, we've got new videos Wednesdays and Saturdays, 9 a.m. Texas time. If you jump your charger across the creek and ring the bell, YouTube should notify you. If not, check for yourself. But, hope you enjoyed the video, got a little something out of it, maybe have something to share. And if nothing else, I hope you have yourself a fantastic week.